I've always been exceedingly fascinated by live-action adaptations of anime and manga. It's the sort of thing where the only situation I would ever possibly watch it is if I had previously watched or read the source material. And if I'm at a point where I'm willing to watch the adaptation, I must have really liked the original works. Or I'm watching it for a stupid YouTube video or something. Kaguya-Sama Love is War is a show I only watched recently, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. It had a good balance of romance and comedy, and it kept me watching, something I'm finding harder and harder to do these days. While researching for my last video about the live-action adaptation of Rent-a-Girlfriend, yes, that seriously exists, I came across the live-action film adaptation of Kaguya-Sama. I'm not sure exactly what I was expecting going into it, especially because people tore this thing apart when it initially came out, but honestly, no, it's not pure cringe, and I refuse to clickbait my videos. There were some scenes that were ridiculous considering that they didn't take place within an anime world but within our own, and that got me confused, but never when I was watching did I cringe. To start off, the movie has great attention to detail. All the characters look how they're supposed to, especially Kaguya, and we even get fun things like when Kaguya gives her iconic "O Kawaii Koto," the actress puts on red contact lenses. I just thought that was cool. The major problems people seem to have with the movies are the scenes where the characters monologue to themselves about the ongoing mental battles with each other. During those scenes, they turn to the camera and make awkward faces and squirm around, and it's implied that they're actually in movie turning to the side, making weird faces and squirming around while everyone looks at them. Usually, time would be frozen while this kind of thing happens, or it would entirely be in their heads, like how it is in the anime, but yeah, if there were ever a cringe factor, this is probably it. But like, have you ever seen an anime or a J-drama? It's not that weird in that realm. Like, I'm fairly certain in the anime it's supposed to be happening in their heads, so in that regard it's incorrect, but really it's enough to make you not like the movie? I'm just not sure what people were expecting. It's a live-action anime movie, a genre of films known for not being good. I mean, compare this to Ghost in the Shell, Alita Battle Angel, Cowboy Bebop, and Dragon Ball Evolution, and you should feel thankful that this is what we got. It's certainly not bad enough to warrant its IMDb rating of 5.6 out of 10 anyways. We also get weird scenes where Kaguya has future hologram technology that's just kind of never explained. Like, she's got a drone that relays its picture directly to a pair of safety goggles, which I'm sure could be done today, but not the way it's shown. Later on, she also holds a Hatsune Miku hologram concert for some reason, and I get that she's insanely rich, but is she rich enough to have access to top secret hologram tech and is able to flaunt it around without consequences? These are the real questions you should be asking. Also, a couple of times throughout the movie, there's these weird scenes where they just take the actor's head, blow it up, place it on a version of their bodies that have shrunken down, and are placed into a semi-animated nightmare hellscape, and after a couple of times doing that, it started to annoy me. Like, why did the setup of the story have to be conveyed in that way multiple times? It just got really weird, honestly. And by the way, another difference is instead of Kaguya getting sick from standing out in the rain, she gets sick from Miyuki calling her a pervert. So the movie is just under 2 hours long, which at first I thought was a bit extensive, but I suppose if they're adapting the entire first season, it would be about that long. But oh, how I was wrong. All of the first season's plot is done in about 50 minutes. So what about the entire second half of the movie? Well, they make up their own ending Rent-a-Girlfriend style. That's after they cut out like half of the storylines from the first season. We get Kaguya and Miyuki going to the movies, Kaguya getting sick, them not meeting up over summer, and then meeting up for the fireworks. All the filler kind of episodes didn't get adapted, and it was kind of a shame seeing that. And as for the entire second half of the movie, well, the student council's session has come to an end, and Miyuki decides not to run again. Kaguya, upon hearing this, collapses and is taken to the hospital. Miyuki thinks he's been overworking her as president, and is shocked to hear that she wants to run for president herself. Miyuki runs against her to prevent any more unnecessary stress for her. So they both run campaigns against each other, yada yada, until we get to the final debate. Kaguya misunderstands an interaction between Chika and Miyuki as them sleeping with each other, and she says this in front of the whole school. But it turns out they were practicing Soran Bushi, a dance meant to relieve stress, and he was training to be able to do it with her to reduce her stress. But as the doctor told her, it wasn't stress that caused her to collapse, but it was love sickness. Whatever that means. Look, the ending we got wasn't the greatest, but it could have been worse. At least they didn't try to change the ending so Kaguya almost gets ripped. I think the most accurate arc was the fireworks. I mean, it was the storyline with the least cut from it, at least. The payoff was pretty good, and if we're being honest, I think they should have just ended the film here. Honestly, I feel like they got overzealous with the amount of story they tried to cover. Getting to the characters, the portrayal of Kaguya and Miyuki was done fairly well, but I had a bit of a problem with Chika and Ishigami. For starters, Ishigami is introduced right away instead of like halfway through, but yeah, he's pretty much just used for one-liners and is never really given a chance for development. Chika's voice is actually higher pitched, believe it or not, so she came across way more annoying compared to the anime. Hayasaki wasn't really given her own scenes either, she was pretty much only used to progress the plot. Something I started to notice was if any of the characters weren't in the same room as Miyuki or Kaguya, they just never got any of their own scenes or character development. Now, all my problems aside, I think they did the best with what they had. The strength of this movie lies in its budget, its costumes, and its casting. I found myself laughing more than I thought I would as well. It's not like it's poorly written. I mean, how could it be? All they had to do was copy the anime. Another thing I really liked was that they kept the same narrator from the anime, even turning him into the Kaguya family doctor. Inexplicably, he was given like a 2-minute long gag scene where he dances in the hospital, and also around the end of the movie he breaks the fourth wall and tells Miyuki that he was the narrator, but his character is probably the funniest in the whole film, so there's that. Is Kaguya-Sama Love is War a bad live-action adaptation? No. The bar is so incredibly low when it comes to these things, and Kaguya-Sama at its core is just a rom-com, so you'd have to do something pretty drastically bad story-wise to even come close to today's modern live-action anime movies. I think my most controversial opinion about this film is that it should have just been a drama. Kaguya-Sama is a show that's based very heavily on non-sequiturs and scenes played off for one joke. Sure, there's a lot of continuation episode to episode, but you don't need to binge the entire series at once. This is what makes the film a bit hard to watch in my opinion. If it was segmented into 20-minute blocks, it would be fine, but it's 2 hours of short stories mashed together. Still, that's not to say it's bad. If you're a fan of Kaguya-Sama, I'd suggest giving it a watch if you haven't yet. If you're showing up for the pure spectacle of cringe-worthiness, I think you'll find that in other adaptations. In addition to this film, there's also a TV miniseries and a fully fledged sequel. I'll get to both of those eventually. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I don't normally do the whole begging people to subscribe thing, but we're closing in on being able to apply for the YouTube Partner Program. According to YouTube Analytics, 99% of my viewers aren't subscribed, but if just 1% of you guys did, I'd be able to increase the production quality of these videos. If you enjoy my content and want to see it get better, please consider subscribing. Thanks.